My name is Mitch Slater. I am the only non-incumbent in the race, and yes, I am, as many of you have called me, the only brave new soul willing to dedicate my time and experience to the Board of Education. My wife, Leslie Dickstein, and I have lived over 20 years in Westfield, 10 years in the Tamaqua School area, and 10 years in the Washington School area. And we have two children, Harrison, a junior at Westfield High School, turning 17 tomorrow, and Georgia, a 7th grader at Roosevelt. And both are here tonight supporting their dad, and I thank them. I know many of you know me from coaching Westfield sports. I've also had the honor of directing both the Tamaqua's Variety Show and the Washington School Show. I hope tonight to tell you more about my 25 years of financial experience that I believe uniquely qualifies me to sit on this board and help lead us forward with fiscal responsibility and transparency. After all, our public schools belong to you, the public. And as all of you know, this is the year that really matters. Thank you.
Thank you. Walker, Ms. Lights, and Mr. Slater. This is a long one. Westfield's school rating in New Jersey Magazine dropped 5 points from 22 to 27th ranking from 2006 to 2008, the last year the schools were rated, while most of the other towns who were in a similar funding formula as Westfield moved up in score. What do you think we need to do to make Westfield a top 25 school again?
Well, thank you for this question. Actually, I've been researching this for a number of weeks, and in 1997 we were 17th, in 2006 we were 22nd, and in 2009 we were 27th. I believe these numbers are important. The scary part is during these last 10 years, the current school board has increased benefits, increased pay, and increased taxes while we, at least on paper, have dropped in our rankings. Now, these results in the private sector would get a CEO replaced. Thank goodness, though, we still have a great school and great teachers, but the trend is alarming. And as I've said before, in my view as a parent, I think my kids are getting a great education in Westfield. Caring teachers, hardworking teachers, day in, day out, and a strong curriculum. I was happy to take part in the strategic community planning session held a few weeks back, and I was very impressed mostly by the ideas brought to the table by caring and dedicated Westfield citizens. We have fantastic resources in our community that I'm certain, if asked, have excellent ideas on how to build on the great work that's already being done in the schools. Bottom line to me is what matters is our kids learn from teachers that know their subject matter, the whole child, through proper communications and implement instructional strategies that address all levels and learning styles. They are challenged and motivated to achieve their greatest potential as individuals. My kids are getting the best of it. Outstanding teachers and great education. I won't let tough economic times and budget cuts take that away from your kids.
Thank you. Would you support a move to reform the current tenure policies here in Westfield? How do you think that would be received, and what reforms would you suggest?
As Ms. Walker has said, and the others have said, tenure is statutory, and only the state can change that policy. And actually, in some states, it is catching on a little bit. Maryland and Ohio are considering making it more difficult for teachers to earn that job protection. And as Mr. Solomon said, in New Jersey, there are proposals increasing the times teachers must work to earn tenure, which I certainly agree with Mr. Solomon and would support. But it does take legislation. Now, here in Westfield, our teachers, quite frankly, don't really need tenure as they do such a good job day in, day out, and are very experienced. I think we need to look at the contracts and pay close attention to what is happening statewide. After all, tenure does not improve teaching skills. Good teachers, and there are many in Westfield, should be rewarded. Mediocre teachers should be helped, and poor teachers should be the ones that unfortunately have to be let go. And let's face it, there's no tenure in the private sector. We are all at-will employees and must perform our best every day with no guarantees. Thank you.
Thank you. In the latest community survey, Westfield residents voiced their discontent with the guidance departments in Westfield schools. Since the results of that survey were distributed, we have cut 2 middle school guidance counselors and done away with the supervisory role. What are we interested in having this department do, and how will we get to that goal?
Thank you. I answered most of that question earlier, but I wanted to add that our counselors are outstanding, the ones that are working in the schools, and we are cutting them to the bone, which is the wrong thing to do. I'd like to talk a little bit about communications, because I think that's very important, and possibly reaching out to others in town, non-parents, who I think need to have a voice or a seat at any table when decisions are made about their property taxes. And one of the things that I've been talking about in town, I just wanted to mention again tonight, is a volunteer organization called Board Watch, which should include these non-parents. Board Watch can evaluate performance of the school board on 5 good governance practices: mission, transparency, conduct, role, clarity, and competency. Every 3 months, you could issue a report card on these measures, talk about the board's performance and ways that the board can improve. This could also work in the town council, by the way. Great way to engage the whole community and hold everyone accountable. The other way to reach out to these folks, I think, would be to hold board meetings at different locations, such as the Y, or maybe even people's living rooms. And let's get into the 21st century and create a properly monitored Facebook page that the whole community can access, and even have individual emails for board members instead of one resting place that makes two-way communications important. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you support term limits for members of the Board of Education? If so, why? If not, why not? Mr. Slater.
Okay. Well, term limits is a very interesting concept, and it certainly exists in just about every other elected office that I'm aware of. And I certainly would support term limits for the school board. I actually was very surprised that that didn't exist. That's not saying that in years where folks aren't running, I could certainly understand the importance of having really good people on it. By definition, board members are putting themselves out there. They are taking a role that accepts public scrutiny every day, and that impacts the everyday lives of our citizens. So, though I believe very strongly, I think term limits is something that should be considered in Westfield and put to a vote. I do understand that, setting an artificial limit could potentially lose good people, and that is a concern, and that's something that I think, not to add another committee out there, but I think it's worth investigating.
Thank you.